What's going on, guys? It is LordKing here, back with another UFC review show. I'm going to try and go through this as quickly as possible, as I say every single time, but we'll see how it goes. So obviously, if you guys are unaware, there was UFC Nashville, Tennessee the other night. It was a fight night, so free on Fox if you are American, and it was headlined Swanson versus Artem Lobov. We had an attendance of around about 10,000, with a total gate of about 755,000. So just before we actually go into it, just to very quickly note, Marcos Rogerio de Lima very stupidly came in at £210. So he's £4 over the limit, which was meant to be, well, he was meant to be weighing in at 206, 205 pounds. So he lost 30% of his purse. And I saw a bit of intel that said that he actually apparently weighed 242 pounds before he entered the octagon. So as you can see, he's meant to weigh in at 205 pounds, and apparently he came in at 240-ish pounds. 240. So that's the weight gain there is ridiculous. He looked huge in the octagon as well. We'll come to that when we get to it. So going over the very briefly going over the prelim card. Hector Sandoval defeated Matt Schnell with KO. Brian Barberena very impressively defeated Joe Proctor with a TKO. A couple decisions, all unanimous decisions, relatively standard sort of expected things. Well, Danielle Taylor defeating Jessica Penn by unanimous decision. I thought Jessica Penn would have done a bit better. My highlight of the actual prelim cards, nothing on the main, was this gentleman right here, Brandon Moreno defeating Dustin Ortiz. Not a lot of people. A lot of people thought this was probably going to be Brandon Moreno's maybe his toughest test to date, apart from Lewis Smolka, and he kind of went in there and just put everything on the line, to be honest. He rises to the challenge incredibly well. As mentioned before, he is only 23 or so years old, so the amount of experience he shows for a 23-year-old is absolutely phenomenal. Now, Dustin Ortiz is absolutely no slouch, known for having some of the best cardio and being relentless almost, being a brown belt of jiu-jitsu as well, so a very good sort of jiu-jitsu artist, Brandon Moreno only being a purple belt. The first round was kind of Dustin Ortiz kind of grinding him on the cage and trying to take him down, get him down a few times. Moreno kept getting up. The second round started, and it was almost a similar sort of thing, but Moreno was kind of showing he was kind of feeling what I think he was feeling Dustin Ortiz out for the first round, and then he then kind of just turned it up a bit and started doing his own thing. He landed almost this flash head kick, so it kind of came out of nowhere almost, and he landed the head kick. It dropped Dustin Ortiz. He got to the back, and he basically managed to submit him with a rear naked choke. Everyone was incredibly impressed, and Brandon Moreno looks like he could be one of the big prospects that is going to come out of the flyweight division, hopefully maybe eventually fighting Demetrius Johnson later on next year, maybe, or whatever, we don't know. Thales Leites defeats Sam Alvey unanimous decision. Again, it was quite obvious Thales Leites probably won this. Sam Alvey, I think he hurt his ankle in the first round, so he couldn't really mount too much of an offense. On to the main card. Mike Perry defeating Jake Ellenberger by KO. Now this makes me a little bit sad because I think this could be Jake Ellenberger's last fight with the UFC after that sort of devastating KO and the way it happened and things. Obviously, he's not been the most ridiculous sort of fighter as of recent. Jake Ellenberger, I think he actually dropped Mike Perry. He hurt him in the second round, and after he hurt him, he kind of pushed it a bit too much, I think. So then Mike Perry actually clipped him with a lead left hook, I believe, and then they kind of clinched up, and he then landed maybe one of the most vicious sort of elbows I've seen in a hell of a long time. It was it wasn't even a cutting elbow, it was just a straight KO elbow. He just elbowed him out of the clinch, and Jake Ellenberger was pretty much knocked for dead. He was out, I think he was out cold, and he ended up sitting down. He couldn't stand for the decision or the talks or anything. He just kind of was knocked dead with the elbow. So an incredible performance from Mike Perry. He did win performance of the night from that. Stevie Ray defeating Joe Lauzon. It started off with Joe Lauzon taking him down and doing his jiu-jitsu dominance on the ground, and he did that for the first round, and I'm pretty sure he won the first round there. The second round it started off again with Lauzon doing that, but then Stevie Ray kind of managed to stand up and start landing a few shots. The very final round, it ended with Lauzon. I think he was just incredibly gassed. I'm not too sure why. Normally he has a little bit better cardio, but he looked like he was very tired. And the ending was kind of him just defending this Stevie Ray, who had like a second wind, just throwing these crazy shots at him. And they managed to withstand it, and it became a little bit of a war at the end. Stevie Ray winning by a majority decision. John Dodson defeating Eddie Wineland, decision unanimous. Everyone gave it to him. A lot of people said John Dodson would have the speed and Eddie Wineland would have the power. John Dodson actually had both. He pretty much showed why he is one of the best sort of bantamweights or flyweights. He just basically just dominated this Eddie Wineland, and he really proved that he can hang with the best sort of people. In his fight with John Lineker, he basically stayed back quite a lot and tried to counterpunch. This fight with Eddie Wineland, I think he almost disrespected his power a little bit more, and he pushed forward a hell of a lot more and just almost walked him down a little bit whilst being as athletic as he is. So a good win for Dodson. I'm not sure who will fight next. Maybe, well, he lost to Lineker, so maybe one of the top sort of bantamweight guys. I don't know. Maybe a Dominic Cruz at some point. We don't know. Over in St. Preux, Marcus Rogerio de Lima. So noting first of all, de Lima came in incredibly heavy and overweight. It was a catchweight at 210 pounds. He won by Von Flew choke. Now, if you guys are unaware of what this is, first of all, Over in St. Preux is the first person in UFC to actually do it twice. So he's done it once before, and now this is the second time he's done it. But the way it's described is, if it's almost hard to picture. If I were to take someone down, and they were to try and put a guillotine on my neck or my head, and so the person on the ground then has a guillotine in it, and I'm still on top. If I were then to move to side control, so come round to the side of your body and out of your guard, then if you guys still have that guillotine, that arm around around my neck, then it can be very dangerous for you if I'm in the side control position or even half guard position, and you still have that arm around my neck, because then you have to think of it as if your arm is up in the air and it's around my neck, but it's being pushed up towards your ear. Your elbow and your shoulder being pushed up towards your ear, so that can block off the blood going to your brain on that side of your head. So now, if I were to come around and squeeze on the other side, you can create a sort of very, very thick squeeze on both sides of the neck. So now, that's exactly what Over in St. Preux did. It's normally quite relatively rare sort of thing to pull off, mainly because the fighter on the bottom is normally smart enough to, if they haven't got the guillotine, once it's happened, they bring their arm back down. But where de Lima, I'm not sure why he did it, but he kept his arm up there, and he got submitted with it. Basically, his own arm, he kind of got submitted by his own arm. Google Von Flew. You can see it on the screen now. Von Flew choke. Google that or YouTube that, and you'll see what I mean. It's quite a rare sort of submission. Again, Over St. Preux is the first person to ever get it twice. Maybe he's better at getting people in that sort of position, possibly. But he says apparently he can pull off that submission from almost absolutely anywhere. He says he can get it from guard as well, where the person on the bottom has both their legs wrapped around them. So almost the ideal guillotine position. He says he can get it from. So it'll be interesting to see that somehow. Moving on, Iaquinta defeated Diego Sanchez by KO. Again, this is another one that makes me a little bit sad, because Diego Sanchez, maybe the actual last, as Joe Rogan put it, the last sort of warrior in the UFC, like true warrior who puts everything out there. Iaquinta is a very talented person, and a lot of people maybe expected him to actually win this fight, but not in the way that it happened. Diego Sanchez isn't really known for being KO'd, and in his past few fights, it's starting to happen. Well, a little bit more, especially with like Joe Lazon KOing him, and then obviously Iaquinta now. He just landed quite a few good punches, and Diego Sanchez looked wobbled. He kind of went back to that old sort of gritty style. You could see when he was hurt, he started biting down on his mouthpiece and started swinging, and then Iaquinta kind of waited for him to overextend a little bit and just landed a very, very clean shot, putting him out, and then that was pretty much it. It was a very, very impressive KO. The crowd gave him a little bit of stick afterwards. He gave them a weird sort of mic rant. I'm not really too sure what he was saying, but it was quite odd. You could probably can't watch this back again if you guys are in America and you have Fox Sports 1. Then you should be able to watch it back because it's free. If you guys are in the UK, then it should be on BT Sport at some point. The final fight of the night was Cub Swanson versus Artem Lobov. One that I expressed beforehand. I was relatively disappointed that this was the main event, and it kind of annoyed me, to be honest. But one thing I did gain out of this, the result was expected, but one thing I gained out of this was Artem Lobov. I gained a bit of respect for him, to be honest. I didn't think he should be in there with someone like Cub Swanson, and I still don't think he should have been in there with Cub Swanson. As you can see, it was a unanimous decision, clearly across the board. One judge giving all the rounds to Cub Swanson. But Artem Lobov, he was in there and he almost hung with Cub Swanson for quite a fair amount. He took a hell of a beating on the feet, and even on the ground he was getting a little bit beat up a little bit. Swanson was landing all these flashy. He was enjoying himself. He was smiling, doing cartwheel kicks, spinning back fists, spinning elbows, crazy stuff, and wheel kicks. and Lobov was pretty much eating all of them. He got hit in the head with almost every single one. I think he got wobbled a few times actually on his feet, but every single time he came back, he kept pushing forward. So what we do know is that he has got an incredibly good chin, and he's pretty much a warrior. So, but what that does say to me is Cub Swanson, if he wanted to maybe try and take him onto the ground and just work him on the ground, then it could be a sort of maybe a fight he could lose, in a sense. If you're a very, very good jiu-jitsu artist and you can get him to the ground, then I think that'd be one of the best ways to defeat him. Having said that, he did go, I think, what is it, 5 or 3 rounds with Ryan Hall, one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners of all time. So Artem Lobov did well. He impressed me. As they said in the UFC, his stock's gone up. Even though he's lost, he still bumped himself up just because of the way he went 5 rounds with Cub Swanson and eating the punches. His next fight should be a relatively good one as well. Cub Swanson, very, very impressive decision win. The first round was the only one that I think he may have lost, where Artem Lobov actually landed a takedown. Cub Swanson said he was a hell of a lot stronger than he expected, so he underestimated him there. But other than that, he dominated the whole fight. He just basically pieced him up on the feet, and he looked pretty impressive, to be honest. So what he wants is the winner between Jose Aldo and Max Holloway, which I could possibly see happening. Again, the featherweight division's a bit of an odd one, where Rodriguez is going to be fighting Frankie Edgar, so we maybe look for the winner of that one as well, but we'll have to wait and see with that. Overall, fight of the nights, we had Cub Swanson versus Artem Lobov. Performance of the nights, Mike Perry and Brandon Moreno. I feel these gentlemen down here should be maybe appreciated a little bit more. Hector Sandoval, Brian Barberena, both some good wins. Brandon Moreno, his performance was incredible, obviously warrants that. And Mike Perry, his KO was, obviously he got in performance of the night. That was absolutely phenomenal. I feel like the submission over St. Preux should also be appreciated, and so should Iaquinta's KO. Overall, guys, it was a great card. The next card is not for a few weeks, so you do not have to worry about these previews and post-fight reviews for a little while. But the DLC for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is out, I believe, tomorrow. So look forward to that. I shall be doing a hell of a lot of gameplay from that. For that, I'll be doing Everyone Bojack, Goku Black, and Zamasu gameplay, all in individual videos. I shall also maybe do some subscriber battles as well if you guys are interested. So let me know down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, like, share, and subscribe. I've been LordKing, and thank you very much.